Hi all. Right, let's see if we can get things finished. So turn 32, just got our action phase to do, although two or three little things to talk about. Um, First of all, Martin came back commenting on the mortar fire from the Brown rocket position in WN 69, is it? Yeah, and he said they probably didn't want to create different rules for the fact that you've got this WN. Where's the other one again? There's another one, isn't there? Or did we take that one out? Yeah, WN 67. So you've got these two sort of inland WN positions, if you like. And he said that they probably didn't want to use different rules for them, so just left them as is. So in that, he says that that unit wouldn't have been hit. Because although it's within the 5, and although it's a pavilion hex, it's not adjacent to the beach. I'm assuming that's what he means when he says that it wouldn't be hit, because he says I just follow rules as written. So that's what that is. Although it's a pavilion hex, it's not adjacent to the beach, so it's not a target. My thinking could have been, why did they not just make them as reinforcement positions and act like that where they are? Because I mean, this one's they're right beside reinforcement positions, aren't they? They could have probably added into the rules that they'd done it that way rather than fired down towards the beach and whatever. But however, they didn't, and that's how it is. And so we'll happily take that unit back. Not that it makes a heck of a lot of difference, I don't think. Yeah. Right, and then a couple other things. The heck were they? Well, oh yeah. While I'm down here, I mean, this was so sloppy. This redeployment of this unit to here. I was just watching back in the video that I redeployed it. I mean, yes, I can partially understand. Like I say, this whole sector boundary. It's when it goes. It's not so bad when it's not around the position hex, but the position hex are the same. I mean, they're not the same colour, but they're the same kind of shape. They've got the same dotted sort of line, and it does make it. I mean, yes, you can clearly see it, and I maybe am sort of. I think you need to be extra careful when you're in their position, because it's not certainly not the first time that I tried to consider using a reinforcement position that was over that side for that side and vice versa. So I suppose you just need to take a bit more care. But the one thing on top of it, and I made a comment in the header of the YouTube video, it's not even a VP hex. And the unit that moved, he moved from a VP hex, so he actually has to hit a VP hex. So it was really sloppy. And although it was going to be a painted fix, if the game was still as legitimate, if you like, if I was still looking at getting an actual score that might have counted, then I would have rewound that as best I could. Now, I'm not 100% sure where it went, because the next redeployment unit went here, didn't it? Which was quite nice, because it didn't affect. At first, I think I thought it was going to go here and spoil my victory point grab with this guy, but it ended up going here because this was the lowest number, and it fires into here. But at that time, I don't think this unit was in red, because it was back here somewhere. So the deployment of that unit down to there, I think my thinking was it might have went into. No, was it D6 or was it further up? Was it this hex here, maybe? You know what, I can't quite recall. I've decided I'm not going to rewind it. I might try and have a little glance just before we count up the points. Or you know what, I'll just count up the points and then we can sort of say. Because if it would have redeployed there, it would have caused the loss of 2 victory points. Yeah, I think it was this one actually. Because this is a victory point that we're gaining, and this is a victory point that we're gaining. So I can maybe deduct 2 points. I mean, it caused us a pain here because we had to attack it, but is it going to allow us any loss of... Well, I'll tell you what, it might have done, because we would have had the resources to have a go at this guy, and so we might have got a victory point back for that. So if you say we might have got 1 for that, but we would have lost 2 for that, then maybe it's a net -1 that I should have put down to that blunder, if you like. So we'll maybe keep that in mind, that there's a -1 to another -1 to be added on, just to compensate for that. But I'm not going to change it, and we'll just make do. And finally, across here, and I just watched the last bit of video footage from the last activation, and I'm sure some of you spotted it. I'd moved these guys off the map, and for long enough now. I mean, even Martin's comment about the fact that they had things sort of like shored up round there, he maybe meant that, well, you're not going to be able to trace communication. But I never took heed of that at all. And I never really even studied it. I never looked at being able to trace communication. Obviously, I can't go through here. I can't go through these rough hexes. And this unit's in the way here. Now, this unit originally had moved from the purple position down. But even if it had been in that purple position, it still fires into this hex. So it's not as if I could sneak my communication along there if he'd stayed up there. So, but then we were past these units while they were down here. And, if I'd realised what I've realised now, however, I'm actually getting away with it, as I'm sure some of you also noticed. Because if I had noticed that, I would have said, I'm going to have to take this unit out. And or these guys are not going to be able to trace communication. And the reason I'm not going to be able to trace communication, and let's just move this unit back to where it was, and this is what makes a bit of quite some good fun of it all, to be honest. I could say I planned it like this all along. Well, if this guy comes on here, and I've got to trace communication, he can trace right up there, but he can't trace through this hex here, because red's firing into it. And it wasn't until right at the end that I noticed that, and I should have noticed that, really, because, I'm sure you all spotted it and thought, well, where are you actually getting this communication trace from, Grant? So, and then, same to try and come through the middle, red fires into here, and the orange actually fires into here as well as red. So I can't trace through here, and I can't trace through there. So I'm screwed. These guys have went off the map, and they could have stayed behind and had to go at this, and maybe then we would have had a trace. However, what went in my favour was the last action that these guys carried out was the advance action, and they advanced into this purple hex here. So in actual fact, if I had stayed behind to bother about trying to get this guy, purple's now firing into there, so I wouldn't have been able to trace along there anyway. However, since he's moved from red into there, there's now an easy trace up round there. So I got really lucky with that. That is 4 points that I shouldn't really be getting, but it looks like I'm actually going to get now, which you've got to watch. I mean, I was looking, even this unit here, if you like, you've got to watch it. It fires up to here. I've got to be able to get right round the back. You've got to watch where the fields of fire are actually landing, and then I suppose to some extent coming back down again. Once we come back down, there's plenty of space. I mean, this tank can maybe fire into a couple of these hexes, but there's plenty of space, and we've got this blue guy here who only fires into here and here. So we can quite easily trace communication right down here towards the beach again. So there isn't a problem. But however, for the 2 units, there was a problem right up until the last German fire phase when that unit moved out of B2. So lucky for us. However, like we've already said a number of times, the numbers are only there to see what might have been, And I'm not that sure that they're going to be that impressive anyway. We didn't have any Meyer units come out. We've got quite a few WM positions that we've not got taken. we're still awaiting confirmation, I suppose, on the do you get away with controlling one over the two. Well, that was another thing just to quickly talk about as well. I think I talked about at first thinking this guy was in the field of fire, then we found out he cannot fire up onto the high ground. So then I thought, oh, this isn't in his field of fire. And it's not in his field of fire. However, I'm right with this, haven't I? I still need to be able to trace communication for these guys from there. And I can't trace into here because red's firing into here. Well, not only red, this tank actually fires into here as well. And I can't trace into here because the tank fires into here. So, and, that's a point. Can we go? I wouldn't have thought so. I wouldn't have thought we could go up. No, we can't get through these two. These are purple. So we can't cut along there. And remember, you can't go down bluffs. And I cannot even cut up into here. Purple's firing into here, brown's firing into here. So yeah, there's no run up through that way to avoid to trace US communication. So in actual fact, this isn't going to work. And even if I did have a unit in here, I think it would be the same case because this tank fires into here. I think it also fires into these two hexes, so I don't think I would have been able to trace US communication from these two, but the units got eliminated from there as well. So the blue one, however, is okay, yeah, because we control the hex, and we only need to trace into a beach hex. So, oh, now hang on, no, Grant, that's a cliff, isn't it? That counts as well, doesn't it? Yeah, we did look at that before. The path may not be traced through a rough hex or a bluff or cliffside hex. So this is a cliffside hex. However, can we do, because these units moved out of here, didn't they? So we could quite possibly, yeah, we can actually trace up and around with that guy. So we are actually going to be able to get that one. So that won't be a negative. But there you go, there's minus 3 points there. There's another WN, that's minus 4 just there. No Meyer units. We've only got 2 draws. We've only managed to get 3 units. Oh, we're gonna get another 3 units off the map though here, and these are going to be worth a bit. Forgot about that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but to be honest, I'm not convinced I'm going to get anywhere near 40 points, but you never know. It might be better than we think. We've lost a few victory point hexes as well with that tank. Well, we would have had this one. We would have had this one. And in fact, no, that one's okay, isn't it? It doesn't fire in there, does it? So I think we do still have that one. That's not a VP hex. But anyway, there's a couple got lost there, So anyway, right. Okay, well that's 14 minutes gone by, Grant. You've not done anything. So maybe I should be just saving all this for the end. Right, well let's move on with the action phase and just get done what we're going to do. It shouldn't really take an awful long time, but I've said that before. Well, straightforward up the top there. These guys are getting out of here. So free move from the general. That's whole 6 steps of units though there, and then this guy also goes 1, 2, and yeah, I'm assuming they're off map now. They're not relevant to any kind of stacking or that. I think just while I'm there, I'm pretty sure we want an action for this, because this will enable us to we can 2 hex move into here, and that will enable us to take these two, control both these hexes, Let's say there was no point in this one or this one because Blue's firing into both of them, so we don't need to run down there. So I'm pretty sure I'm using an action for that. Pretty positive. It's worth 2 victory points, so we'll see why we wouldn't. This guy's just in this hex, controlling it though, so all good there, I think. This guy's actually controlling this. He's controlling this and this draw hex. These guys, now we changed their HQ back down to well, from a command post, we disbanded it, or whatever it is you call it. So it has got a range, it is controlling everything round about it. So we do get these 2 guys moved up onto the high ground hex with the final turn of the day. This hero needs to go down to here, I think it was. So let's just double check that. We've got that hex, we've got that hex, we've got that hex, that hex, that hex from him, and we've got that hex, that hex, that hex from, sorry, we've got these 3 hexes from him. So that to me looks like the draw is complete. The engineer base fully cleared all its bits. Yeah, I'm just looking back there to the 37 one, which is here. But it doesn't need to be, it doesn't need to have its range going up here, does it? It just needs to clear the obstacles, doesn't it? Controlling a draw. You control a draw if all its draw hexes are in US control. Yeah, but I think the extended game conditions, it also mentions 4 victory points for each draw you open to US traffic. A draw is open to traffic if you control every hex of the draw and your engineers have completely cleared the draw of German obstacles. Well, yeah, that will be the case. Now, it's not quite at the moment. No, it is, because, yeah, these are the only 3 draw hexes that we need to clear. Obviously this as well, but that's all within range. And we do have a range of 3. 1, 2. It's just this hex we've not been able to control. And so we've got the draw sorted. The only thing is we can't get that guy on higher ground until we eliminate that unit. And then that clears that hex, and then we can move. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll get around to that that draw though, so we might as well concentrating over here. Well, to be honest, there's nothing more to do over there, is there? You know, the tank's sitting there, we're not going to do anything with that. It's not as if these units can dash off somewhere else and try and grab another hex. No. Yeah, pretty much. I pretty much think that's everything and for that side. Well, apart from the middle part, like I say. Right, okay, let's see what's happening across the middle here. So, again, looking at our draw hexes here. We've got this one controlled. This one is in control. Now remember, this tank is going to be moving up here, though, hopefully. So control, but this unit under here is a 2-step unit which controls here, the hexes and these 2 as well. So we have the draw fully controlled. Now, yeah, there's no need to occupy WN67. We do need to take this out. And obviously this was the blunder that we made. Such a shame to end the game with that blunder, but like I say, if the points had officially been doing anything, we've got, oh no, mind you, that is on the other side. We're not quite finished with this side yet, officially. What do we need to take this out then? Browning and Bazooka, and we need a strength greater than 8. Yeah, so we attack with this and this. 13 into there. That's enough to take that guy out. Have the weapons. We've got greater than, so he's gone. He would technically escape, wouldn't he? Yeah, he actually would. I don't think it's relevant. I'll put him up in the. I mean, I don't think we lose any points for any of the being in the reinforcement box. So we've taken him out. So now this hex can be cleared of its mines. This would get a traffic management move. The range of this one is 3. 1, 2, 3. Obviously that clears that hex. We get a traffic management move into there for 1. So that gets another non-infantry unit up on the high ground. Nothing else really to do here. I mean, these aren't victory points, but they're holding the draw positions. This guy is on this side as well, but whoopsie daisies. Sorry, lost the camera there. Yeah, I was looking at this guy. He's sitting in a victory point hex. He's fine. That's coming across this side now. Right, I think we can finish with this side. I don't think I missed anything. I still have 2 action markers, but there's nothing I can see I need to do that's going to benefit anymore. So yeah, let's just jump across. So might as well stick in the middle here. This guy's just going to sit here, I believe. This guy was disrupted, but he's sitting in a VP hex. He was just a one-stepper. Because that was a wee bit unfortunate, because this hex we could have got as well. This is a VP hex. But, actually, hang on, Grant. That guy can actually 2-hex move into there. I'm pretty sure. I'm guessing this is still just hedge. I know it goes straight along. It was one of the ones I used to doubt when I first played the game, but I think I was just being a little bit too picky. I mean, this is hedge, isn't it? This is hedge. There's nothing in the middle of it. If there's anything in the middle of it, it's blockage. This is clearly blockage. This is hedge. So I could actually go 2 into there. Oh well, I think we're going to do that, aren't we? Actual fact, I could use one of the action markers from the other side, but we'll not bother messing with that. I don't think it's going to matter. So yeah, I'm as well doing this. So 1, 2, that grabs on our victory point there, and then this guy gets a free move from the general, so he can just go 1 into there, and then he's controlling both of these. We had talked about putting this guy in here, but it's not really necessary. Because we do have control of it. Oh, you know what? What the hell? Let's just put it in there. Doesn't make any odds, mind you. And I'm not showing you any of that, am I? Because I'm zoomed far too far in. Right, sorry. Okay, so going back to review what I just done. Moved this guy to, which I think you've seen. That was costing me an action. So I then moved this guy from the general into here, so grabbing both of these hexes if you like, And then I moved this guy into here just to take the WN position. I mean, he was in control of that, so it wasn't really necessary. But again, it's a free move, no actions. And then down here, well, this is either -1 or -2 points, because we still need a confirmation on how that actually is. Whether I mean, I don't think I'm going to get that before I count my score up, but we can sort of say, well, if Martin's correct about his assumption, then it's going to be this amount of points, and if he's not, then it's going to be this amount of points. These two are okay though. These are garrisoned. There's nothing I can do. There's no benefit I can take from them. Obviously, this draws out the equation. Yeah, we can move this hero. He can go and grab that E7 hex. So that's another point. And then pretty much the rest won't do, really. Like I've realised after all that trouble and keeping a guy in this hex, I mean, we weren't getting this victory point because orange fires into it. And then it looked like we weren't getting this because I thought the tank was firing into it. And then I thought maybe I am because the tank isn't firing into it. But then I can't trace communication. All the hexes, there's no US communication trace from there. So we don't control that one. We don't control these two. So that's an R -3. However, we did find out that we do control this, and we can trace communication. And I'll just show you up round the back there. You can see quite clearly that unit can trace. There's nothing up the top of the map there as well. Also, when we look at these two exit, the D and the C exits, you can see that by tracing back on, and then where we want to come down to trace our communication is down through draw E3 it is. And so we come back down here, and there's no German units. This is the nearest one in the west, and this is the tank's nearest one in the east. There's a big gap in between, and we're quite capable of tracing right down through the draw onto the beach. And then, like I say, we got really lucky with these two, and these can trace up. And as you can see, there's nothing up the top there. This is the closest one that we get, but we can trace right along this top row hexes, and then again just back down through the draw to the beach. So yeah, so I think that's about that. I think that's all we really need to do, and then maybe just count up some numbers. Yeah, don't think I missed anything. So we should have 2 draws. So if you think points, draws and units that we've exited, I've got 4 steps that I've exited there, and then another 8 steps on this one. So that's 12, and then also another 4 here. So that's 16, and 2 draws is another 8. So there you go, 24. 24 there. Well, why don't you just carry on from that, Grant? I might write it down because I might start forgetting. Okay, so two draws gives us 4 points each. That's 8 points, and we have them, like I say, we control every hex in them, and the engineers have both cleared all the obstructions, so that works. And then, like I'd say, the units that I've exited can all trace communication from their exit hex, US communication. So, and it was per step, wasn't it? Yeah, each armor or regular infantry step. So 4 across there, and then another 8 is 12. Did I count that wrong before? 4 and then 8, 12, 14. Yeah, I did count it wrong, didn't I? So I've got 14 steps. So, yeah. Is that right? Why am I doubting myself here now? It's because I got a bigger number the last time. 3, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. And 8 for the draw. So yeah, that was only 22. I'm sure I got 24 or 26 before. I must have counted something wrong. Okay, and then what about non-infantry, non-HQ units on the high ground at end of play? We just get a point for each of them. So there's 1, and then there's 2 in here. So that's 3. 2 more tanks here. That's 5. And then the only other one we've got is a tank here. So I think that's it for 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. Yeah. Okay, so and then yeah, I don't think we're getting anywhere near a victory, are we? Okay, so now victory point hexes. Yeah. Right, so victory point hexes that we control. That's a no because that's firing into it. That's a no. I've already said that tank's now spoiling that. This is okay though, because the tank's got steady fire into that, but it doesn't fire into that. So that to me is 1, and we can trace communication. So that's 1. That's a WN. We'll get to them. That's a WN. So we've only got 1 there. This tank's got this one. That's 2. That's 3. I'm just kind of going east to west. Damn, I would get called there, and I'm lost my numbers now. So what did I say? 1, 2, 3. Oops. So 1, 2, 3, 2, 3. Nothing here, nothing for that, nothing for that. Right, we get 1 for that, it's 4. Then we've got 5, 6. And then come down here. Nothing there, that's 6, that's the WN. Nothing there. This is 1 for, that's 7. 8. 8. Then 9, 10, 11, 12. They're mounting up. So 12 up to here. This is WN's. 13. And nothing on here. What happened to him? 13. I think that might be it. Yeah, because these are WNs and we weren't scoring for that one. Yeah. So it was quite a lot, but it's still not enough, I don't think. So 13 VP hexes. So I think that's, well, actually, we've got one other plus we've got 2 tanks that made their way onto the board, so we get a victory point each for them, don't we? I don't know what it tells you about that, but maybe it tells you in the optional rules. It definitely did say that somewhere. Victory point adjustment. For each German armour unit that enters the map, you gain 1 victory point, even if subsequently eliminated. If all 4 enter, add 4 victory points. Well, we've got two tanks that came on. So that's worth another 2 victory points. So that's our pluses are 22, 28, 38, 41, 43. However, we've got some negatives. We've got quite a few negatives. I'll get to the WNs. Subtract 1 victory point for each German unit in the Kampfgruppe Meyer box. No subtraction for depth markers. And there is 8 of them. I started thinking there was only 4, but there's 8, isn't there? Tell me at the beginning somewhere. Just rather than go and count them there. Yeah, 8 Kampfgruppe Meyer units. 4 mobile depth markers, but we didn't count them. So that's -8 for that. Meyer units, -8. And subtract 1 for each WN hex that I don't control. Right. Well, this side of things is better than the other. So this is okay. This is okay. The green's okay. This blue position is alright, and the red is okay. This red position is okay. However, we didn't get the one with the rocket, so that's -1. Now, well, I'll look at if it was the way I read it, this is worth -1. And then I'll put Martin's WNs. Know that I'm just picking on you here, Martin. So he would have. So I would be -2 up to now, and the orange is fine. This is -3, -4, -5, -6. This one's okay. So that's -6. In actual fact, Martin's way, the way I've ended up, it's either -6 or -7, because he would take -2 for these. Well, that's how he sees it. So it's either -6 or -7. So, well, my way of scoring, it's -14. So we take away 14 from our 43, and we get, what do we get? 29. 29, is that right? 29 points, or Martin's way would be an extra 1, so 28 points. The other thing to consider, I mean, I would have to have rewound it just to be double sure, because the only thing I can take out is it looked like that might have been the redeploy hex which would have stole 2 victory points off us. However, if that had happened over there, we would have had the resources and time to finish that off. So maybe another -1 out of that. Just because of that blunder. Taking it down to 28 by my scoring, or 27 by Martin scoring. Yeah. So all that hard work for that. Well, I mean, maybe that's the reason why when you hit catastrophic loss, you just don't bother playing on, because you've lost that many units that it's going to be pretty much impossible for you to actually win the game. Maybe not so true. Martin did prove that he got the majority of his points on the other side. He must have had some Kampfgruppen Meyer units come into play as well. And although I don't think he played with armour, that was only worth 2 points to me. I think he had I seem to recall him having a similar amount of WNs not covered, but maybe 2 or 3, maybe 1 or 2 less than me, point-wise, negative-wise, I mean. He probably ended up with more units off the map, and quite possibly more non-infantry units up on the high ground. I struggled with getting a lot of them happening. It was that slow getting the draws open, really, and then we lost that many units that way. Okay, so let's just have a wee look at where we could have finished. So you win the game if you have 40 or more victory points. Well, I'm going to take my score of 28. That is taking a point off for this little blunder. So whether it could have maybe still been 29, but unless I go back and look at where this unit would ended up, we'll stick with that. It doesn't matter anyway. We got the catastrophic loss. So you win the game if you have 40 or more victory points. Well, we didn't have that. 19 or right. Sorry, interruption there. So what was I saying? 40. Yeah, 40 we didn't get. 19 or fewer is a decisive US defeat. Well, we avoided that one. US High Command closes Omaha Beach to further landings. Well, at least we didn't get that one, but we did get the next one, which is between 20 and 29 victory points. So, yeah, going by either Martin's scoring or my scoring, and with the blunder, I think that's where we're going to be. So it's an operational US defeat. A slim US beachhead is holding against strong German resistance. Subsequent landings and operations are delayed. So yeah, and between 30 and 39, if we got 30 points, it's still a tactical US defeat. The beachhead is secure, but the battle for the high ground rages. But you can see the beachhead isn't really secure, is it? It's up through the middle there is our best sort of bit, and we are moving things. But I mean, over that side, look at it, it's still a flood of grey there, and yeah. It was always going to be a struggle with this game. I mean, I did want to throw the towel in quite a few times back, even before we reached turn 16, I think, because I didn't think I was actually going to progress. You know, and both Martin and John have commented that they've had games where they can't get past turn 16. You know, catastrophic loss can get them. It just depends on the cards. I mean, there is an element of quite a bit of luck, but when you get the right cards at the right time, and or the wrong time and whatever. But well, at least we played it. We played it through. If I hadn't, I don't think it was going to make any difference. If we hadn't had catastrophic loss, the one thing I would say, if I'd took Martin's advice and not bothered about going down to this exit and just concentrated everything going up towards the C exit, you know what, I still don't think it would have worked for me. I mean, I did bring some stuff along this way, but we wanted to make sure we got this draw as well. Yeah, I don't think I was ever going to get the magical 40 points number, even avoiding catastrophic loss. I don't think so, but with the way the game panned out anyway. But maybe some of you better players out there could have still scrambled up a victory out of this. However, I thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm glad I kept it going as well. Uh, yeah, I was quite curious just to see the points, and there you go. So still quite a margin from 12 more points. I don't know, where would they got that from? Then again, some of the Camp Group Meyer units coming on the board. But then I don't know. I don't think I've ever had them in my game. Actually, I don't think I've ever had them. Nah, I must have had them once. I must have. Yeah. So but yeah, I still enjoyed it. It doesn't matter about winning, losing to me with us. The only challenge now is well, the next D-Day at game's probably going to be Tarawa, and they just get harder from here. So, and Tarawa was the first one that I got though. So, I mean, they're all three of them are great, and I think most people think Pelu's a bit impossible. I I don't know. They did change. I'm sure Mr. Butterfield changed the victory conditions slightly to make it slightly more feasible for a victory, but it's still pretty tough, I think. And I dare say Tarawa is doable, but it's harder than this. I think this is the easier out of the three, but so we're not off to a great start, are we? But that's not about that for me. It's about playing the game as properly as I can, rules wise, and as long as I'm enjoying myself. Um, Hopefully it can be in some enjoyment to yourselves as well. But I don't mind if nobody watches it. That's fine. It just I found it has certainly helped me play right through these games. I've done 2 enemy action Ardennes, the German Soul and the Allied Soul, and I played right through the game. And I had 2 attempts at this. I failed after turn 16 the first game, and then again I was almost about to throw the towel in. And it's funny, I made a couple of comments. I think when I was playing the German solo, I felt like we were at a point I was just wanting to pack it in. I think if I hadn't been recording it, I would have. And then Martin had said, well, do that if you want, but it would be nice to see the Allies fighting back and whatever. And I was like, yeah, I suppose that's what it's all about. And so we played on, and it was great. I'm glad I did. But I think maybe playing this off camera, I might not have stretched it this far. So I think that's what it does for me when I record it. So it's better for me. Whether you can put up with the amount of time that I put into trying to move things about, I don't know. That's just how I do it. Yeah. Okay, so well, that's going to be that. So what do we do next? Well, I don't think. I mean, as much as I probably quite like to actually just put Tarawa out and get it going as well, but I think it might be better trying something else. I got RAF, obviously. I talked about that, and I've got it set up on another table, and I actually had a wee shot. Just played through a day. Again, there's just the first sort of introductory game, and the Allies got 5 points. That's the Eagle game I'm playing, so I'm playing as the Germans. So the Allies scored 5 points at the end of it, so I clearly lost by quite a bit. But the first take on that, I could see some things that I was doing wrong. You've got to balance it out quite carefully. And I could record that. It would probably get me. I'm not sure you would want to watch. I don't know. It feels like it's maybe a bit repetitive. And that's what my worry was about that game. That's why I'd never really purchased it before, because I did kind of think I'm not sure it's for me. It looks a bit samey every turn, but I don't. I mean, I quite enjoyed the wee playthrough I had, and I did certainly think, yeah, that was all right. That was pretty good. I just don't know if you could watch that day after, turn after turn. So much of it. I'm not sure, maybe. But the thing is, it's set up on our table, so I probably will just chuck the camera up, and maybe once I've had another wee shot. And there is quite a lot of, I say there's a lot, there's about half a dozen or so advanced rules that you can add. Maybe there's slightly more than that. So it's only like 1 or 2 pages worth of advanced rules that apparently that's how you should use to get the game really going. So I'd probably like to have just another wee shot myself without adding them, and then maybe we could sit down and try it, and chuck the advanced rules in as well to make it a wee bit more interesting. I think that would be better thing to do. So yeah, that, and of course I could clear this table down, and yeah, I could set something else up. I tell you what I've been looking at recently, and would love to try and get a game of it, but it's really not a solo game. I don't think, although it has a bot, and that's Empire of the Sun. I'd love to be able to play that game. It looks really good, but I think there's a lot of strategy involved, and the time that I did set it up and mess about with it a bit, and the bots look really tough as well. They're kind of like the coin bots. I mean, it's Mark Herman stuff, so I think the one that was playing before Fire in the Lake, he designed that as well, didn't he? Co-designed that, so it's a bit like the coin bots. It's maybe even more extreme, and I think there is a lot of bits that you're going to get to that the bot will sort of say, right, you need to choose here because we can't quite decide between the two. And I never quite like that, but the type of game that is, I think it really is. It looks a really good two-player game. But you wouldn't want to sit and play something like that against myself, because you'd be there sitting there twiddling your thumbs for ages while I made my mind up about what I was going to do. But it looks such a good game, and I'd really like to try and maybe have a go at that. Of course, we also have what was it, Red Storm, and then I did get the solo missions for that, and I know John Brown's really keen on that game, and I did have it set up for a while, and I think then took it down and put this up. So there is that as well, but I need to get that out again and look through the rules. And I did think though that because of the solo missions, that I got the solo missions, the sort of expansion, that unofficial expansion, that you could just start for them, and I think they take you in gently. The first mission sort of only brings so many rules in. So I had thought about I could have done that as well. So but definitely DD at Tarawa and Peleliu at some point. Any other Mr. Butterfield games? No, I don't think so. I've got the Space Corp. Is it Space Corps? But yeah, nah, not so sure. Yeah, so it's a good game though. It's a good game, but it's not as thinky as these type games. And then I don't know. Anything else? I don't know. Is there anything else that you maybe think would be a good thing for me to do? Fields of Fire, yeah, I'd love to do that again, and I keep saying to myself, well, maybe you should wait on this new rule book, but I get the feeling that's probably years away. I don't think they're going to rush into that, and it's annoying. They're bringing out a bulge expansion for it and that, and you think, why are you bringing out these other bits to it when it could really do with getting some help? I mean, there's plenty of people out there that are happy playing it, and I was to some extent, but um, there's still just bits that are messy about rules. But there's a big community that support the game now. Well, maybe there always has been, to be honest. So, in all honesty, I might have questions to ask, but there's a good chance somebody's going to answer me the question. The thing is, it's not going to be the official answer, and that's what you know. That's what's annoying about these games. Martin's pretty keyed up on the rules, but even the few things that have come up, maybe not so much with DD at Omaha Beach, but Enemy Action, he's went and asked John Butterfield for some confirmations, clarifications, and that, and that's coming from that designer. He's the designer's telling you. So it's just all fans that are giving you the answers to these questions, and sometimes you still think, well, is that right? Is that how the designer wanted it to be? But it's such a great game. But then, Fields of Fire 2 came out, exact same rulebook, pretty much, and now they've got an expansion coming out, and you think, well, they'll bring out more stuff for it. Fix all the original stuff. The other one that gets me is D-Day at Iwo Jima, which wasn't John Butterfield, it was the guy that does the maps, isn't it? Joe Youst, is it? Where are we? Looking at the book here, it must mention his name somewhere, you would think. I think he does quite a lot of the maps and that. Yeah, he's here we go. Graphic map counters and cards. Map counters and cards. Joe Youst done this for quite possibly for Tarawan Pillow as well. And then obviously I don't think John Butterfield wanted to carry on anymore, and they wanted to keep the series kind of going, and then that Joe Youst took over, and so had a different approach to design D-Day at Iwo Jima. And it might be that there's a good game in there, but the rules and understanding of it are not nice at all. I did try, and I was grasping some things, and there's just too many holes where you were not sure what to do. And I think he was there trying to answer some questions, but there was just a lot. There was just far too much, and it was trouble. And again, there was supposed to be some rewrite of the rule book or some big errata that was coming out, and nothing happened. I remember asking some questions. Are we getting any errata? Are we getting a new rule book? And then the latest, it was a while ago now. I hear him. He's talking about, what is it? DD is it Saipan or whatever? The next game in the series, and I'm thinking, don't make another one. Fix this one first. Make sure this one's totally playable, because we all love these games. DD at Omaha Beach, Tarawa, Pillow. They're hard, but we love them. But I know for a fact I don't think Martin's entertained Iwo Jima, and yet he's probably one of his favourite games. These it's a bit of a shame. It would be nice to try and do something with that as well at some point, but anyway. But if you've got any other thoughts, something that you might like to see me try, and if I have it, or if I like the sort of heavier stuff, something that gets me thinking. That's why I think every game that I've suggested there, the other two DD games, Fields of Fire, Empire of the Sun, that's pretty complex game. But I think when you introduce the bot, and I don't know. I'd like to try it. I'd like to try it and play use the bot for the Japanese, and so I think they're the aggressive ones at first, aren't they? Obviously, and then maybe try and I just remember when I set it up and tried it myself, I didn't have a clue what my strategies were at all, and it's not simple wee moves like that. It's like, right, I'm going to bring this air unit and away across here, join up with this carrier and attack that, and then move back to there, and it's like, and you've got to count up what you've got to kind of work it out beforehand, or you're going to look silly about, you've done no damage to them and they've destroyed your unit or something like that. And there's some videos out there, but I mean, it's a pretty heavy game, I think. But I mean, I'd just be playing it with a bot, so you wouldn't be watching any great strategies of that. But if I could make it look like it was an enjoyable game to try, I might encourage more. I mean, I'd like to see a video of it, for instance. Empire of the Sun, somebody doing it, playing against a bot, even if they were having to make some decisions. I mean, I don't necessarily like that, but I can see with some games where you just come down to it, or you could come down to 2 or 3 units, right? Which one do I use? And you might want to say, right, well, if it was me, I would use that one. But you could then just say, well, let's roll a dice and see, let's pick it randomly, rather than, And but the thing with the bots is it's not like Mr. Battlefield stuff, like Action Ardennes in particular, for instance, where it's built in for the AI to do some suboptimal moves, but then it might do these moves, but it also benefits in other ways. Whereas bots, I suppose, when it comes down to do you choose that unit or that unit, you probably do have to say, well, that's clearly the better unit to use. So anyway, right, probably going on a bit here, but just thought I'd stretch the video out to about an hour for the last one. So, well, hope any of you that watched it all enjoyed it. I did. Yeah, I don't know what I'll do next. I probably will try and put the RAF stuff out and see how far we get with that. But if you've got any other ideas, like I say, what you might like to see. I know some folk have said about Tarawa and Peleliu, so I will do them at some point, definitely. I'm looking forward to that. And of course, from them, I've got any match on Kharkov, which, maybe a couple of months away yet. But I kind of stopped reading the rules for them, so I should probably start again, so that once the game comes, I've actually read through the rule book at least, and then we can. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll get it, and I'll just set it up, and I'll put the camera up, and we'll make mistakes. I don't generally like that, like watching videos when folk are blundering their way through and making mistakes. As you're probably aware, I like to try and get everything right, but yeah, I think it'd just be a learning game for everybody, because we're all going to get it around about the same time. Any use fans that are going to get it as well. Probably want to have your own shot about it, and you can always make comments. Right, this should happen rather than that, Grant, and whatever. Yeah. But of course, it's going to be quite similar to any match in Ardennes anyway. The system itself is going to be quite similar, so I'm sure we can still make blunders right enough. Right, okay, I'm going to wrap this up now, and there we go. 28 points I counted. However, just as a reminder, we lost. We lost before we even lost. And the victory point count. But this shows you we could have lost. We could have avoided this, because the 2 units that we did take the loss from, initially we had thought about retreating from here and retreating from there. That was my initial thought, and then I changed, because I think I'd left the video like that, and then I came back and made a couple of alterations saying, look, I don't see the point in backing up. Let's try and take a chance with this. So if I had stuck with my original plan, I think the only thing we benefited from was a victory point here, so we wouldn't have got that victory point. However, some of these units might have had time to come around and ease some of these units and let them possibly get off the map, maybe. So it is possible we might have ended up with a few more victory points and not catastrophic loss, but I can't be sure about all that. And I did take the chance and go the other way, so catastrophic loss it was. Right, guys, I'll leave it for now, and no doubt I'll be back with something soon, because the last time I thought, right, take a break, just go and play something off camera and that, and I kind of feel like I don't know, I miss it a little bit. This keeps my concentration, sort of, and encourages me to keep it going. So, okay, well, I'll be back with something soon. Okay, cheers.